Today on V8 Extra, we're tweaking the rear-view mirror for a good look back at the Sky City Triple Crown in Darwin. We'll review all the race 12 and 13 action with special guest Garth Tander from the Toll Holden Racing Team. Plus, Mark Larkham and Mark Scaife are here to help. And for the first time this year, we're in front of a live studio audience.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Thanks for joining us once again today on V8 Extra, and we've got a fantastic show lined up for you. Last weekend, we're all at the top end in Darwin for races 12 and 13 of the Championship, the Sky City Triple Crown. We'll review all of that today, and we've got a fantastic audience with us. Nice to have you in. It was a mega race meeting. There was a heap of stuff going on both Saturday and Sunday. Please welcome to explain it all to us, the Marx brothers, Larkham and Scaife. Hey, boys. In no time at all, give us your Darwin summary, Larko.
Loved it, mate. I think we've arrived at a place and time in our championship. 2 tyre compounds in a race, safety car intervention, genuine tyre versus fuel strategy. I just love where we've landed, mate. I really do.
Scaife?
It was, great quality racing, really good qualifying, and the top 10 was one of the best top 10s we've seen for a long time. Holdsworth's original lap was fantastic, and the way that it rolled out couldn't be better. Shane van Gisbergen's performance on Sunday was very, very good.
Awful timing when it came to picking our next guest, because unfortunately he didn't have the best of weekends, but he was booked to come anyway. So, folks, please welcome from the Toll Holden Racing Team, Garth Tander. Sorry, mate.
Right, an intro.
Sorry. Yeah, I put the positive spin on. 2007 champion, dual Bathurst winner, but last weekend
I was clearly at a much different race meeting than the two Marks talked about, because mine was not good at all. So looking forward to Townsville already.
We said we enjoyed it. Obviously, you didn't. It was probably one of the toughest weekends in history for HRT.
Yeah, results-wise, it didn't go well at all. But, there was glimpses of promise along the way. Sunday, for me, we didn't qualify well, 15th, but we charged through to about 6th or 7th in the first couple of laps, and then we had a drama in the pit stop, and then someone whacked me and bent the steering arm, and she was over for the day.
It was a great start. We made the comment. You made basically 10 spots on the first lap.
Yeah.
And in Championship land, probably the hard bit is that it's snuck you back from you come in
we
third.
Third going in, and I think we're now 7th or 8th.
Yeah, so that's
very, very tight between sort of 3rd and 10th, and we're all moving around in that area together, but we're not really making any ground on the front guy.
Hey, Garth, plenty of weird things happened on the weekend. Perhaps the weirdest was Paul Dumbrell on Saturday. Turn 5, he speared off and he thought, here's a shortcut, straight across the top.
He led the
race.
You see, I've dreamed of a lot of races like that, where I'll just go over here.
Exactly. No, but, if you go off, you can go back on weekend. But in this instance, what was your take on all of that?
Well, I just see this green flash take off into the distance and figured, wow, they've changed the track and haven't told us, because he was, obviously, he just left the track so quickly. Like, when I saw the replay, I was like, Scaife, I think, called it, that it looked like he had stuck throttle, he left that quickly. In the end, I think maybe just took a little bit of the Mickey a bit too much.
Look, I think the point is, though, there are certain tracks that we do go to where it is permissible, like Winton, you can go off at turn 5 and you can rejoin, but it's been spoken about in the driver's briefing. I made the comment that PD was putting himself back in what he thought was the logical place, but it looked seriously bad, didn't it?
Yeah, it did look wrong, and I think actually we need to look at the ruling for this, because
back into first, that is the logical place.
Hey, if you're going to pull it, you might as well do it properly and get it to the lead.
Well, he did it at Sandown last year. He went off at turn 1 and arrived at 4.
Yeah, I remember it well.
And Buffett and I looked at each other because the computer timing had him click up in position 1 at the end of the first lap. We went, well, that's wrong.
Yeah, I think we need to look at the rule, and obviously if there's a concrete wall there, he wouldn't have come out in first. He would have not got out of the car. So, if there's going to be this shortcutting stuff, we need to look at how it's readdressed, because otherwise you get guys on the first lap just taking the mickey and trying to get away from accidents and get an advantage from it.
And the best part about it is he's not here to defend himself, so we can beat him up all day long. We'll go to the break, however, and we're going to have a look over his shoulder as Paul Dumbrell in the Botlow Racing Ford Falcon gets a bit of a squeeze from Rick Kelly, fires into the weeds, and coming up we've got race 12 highlights. Stay with us right here on V8 Extra. the back of the pack there.
Oh, there goes Dale Brown. He's still going.
And lounges down the inside. A lot of damage on that car.
So he's last in this field now.
So Winterbottom steady as she goes out the front.
Because he can't, that's why it's dangerous. Oh.
Holdsworth could well end up being the leader of the race. Whincup goes off. Rick Kelly went straight through.
Saturday, race 12 highlights from the Sky City Triple Crown up in Darwin. It was a huge event. It was all going on up there, as you just saw from the highlights. There's cars going every which way. Lots of things to talk about. One of the big talking points, though, guys, was the thing that happened on the Saturday in terms of the back end of the race and the restart. So, Garth, I don't know whether you've had a chance to digest it all, but your take on all that, the way things worked, and then the ensuing contact between Whincup and Winterbottom and all the chaos down at one.
Well, there was a lot of he did, I didn't do, he did sort of thing.
And you wouldn't have done any of that,
no,
would
I
you?
always play it straight all the time. Yeah, I mean, one's claiming that he got a whack prior to the start of the restart. The other's claiming the safety car didn't come in early enough. But at the end of the day, they all lobbed down to turn 1 4 wide, and they all had a decision to make. And 4 of them made the wrong one because they all belted into each other. So, yeah, I mean, there ended up being penalties, I think, for various indiscretions in that 400 metres of racing. The safety car thing, you know, I think the call came out very late, and the leaders were Winterbottom was a bit off guard. But realistically, you should be ready to go when you know the track's clear.
Exactly, and it was a messy restart as a consequence of that, because basically, if you look at the restart the next day when Will Davison just got on with it and he had 3 or 4 length gap at the end of the main straight, that's the sort of restart that Winterbottom should have tried to have, you know, to have done. The way that it actually rolled out, the little out of the throttle, Whincup was the guy that caused it. He fired into the back of him, and then it's on for young and old, and basically it was like socialist racing because they've given 25 points to Winterbottom, 25 points to Whincup, 25 points to Gisbergen, and the guy that I thought was going to absolutely brain them was Lee Holdsworth down the inside. Have a look at this. We're on board now with Rick Kelly. And down the inside he goes.
It's a good move, really.
It was a great move. I don't know why Whincup didn't cover him, but anyway, he's banging into the side.
And it was like 10-pin bowling at the other end, wasn't it? Bang, 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 bang.
And how's the Stephen Bradbury? He's just fired straight through and done.
We've always had restarts at Hidden Valley where they, you know, people have hung back and tried to get a bit of a jump on the rest of the field. It's always been very messy in the back of the field. So Davo's restart, where he just got on it and went, is the best way to go.
Absolutely.
It avoids all this sort of stuff. And I can assure you, if it's 4 wide at the front, it's about 10 wide at the back of the pack because it's just out of control.
How far do you reckon Gues went off the track? He was so far to the right, he was out of bounds and going.
He was in Darwin somewhere.
I did ask him about that. In NASCAR, I think it's a bit of a NASCAR. When you get close to other cars, it can actually disrupt your speed. So he reckons he went right. I don't know if he needed to go quite that far away. Went the long way around. Hey, just on that though, it was interesting the restart. When you look at the rules, it's hard to understand it because it does say the leader's got to maintain speed. And we looked at the data, didn't we? And there was about Frosty jumped off only about 5 k's an hour. But at the point when you think he's going to jump, if you just get out of it, I reckon that's where the kerfuffle starts.
Yeah, well, I think Jamie and Gues probably anticipated a little bit as well.
Exactly.
And, you know, what you're actually watching is the brake lights of the leader. And when the brake lights go out, you go. And just because the brake lights go out doesn't necessarily mean the leader's put his foot on the throttle and left. Yeah. So getting that right is the tricky bit, but having a run and getting going before the last corner, I think, is the best way to avoid all that nastiness.
And the truth of the matter is that for many years we've all played this game anticipating the start. That's what you're paid to do. You're trying to get the heartbeat just right so that you're the one that gets the 1/3 car advantage or whatever, because the 50 or 100 revs at the other end of the straight do actually make a material difference. And of course, if you're on the flip side of it, you get swamped.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, nowadays passing's so difficult that a restart is like gold. You take every opportunity that comes your way. So you saw how desperate the guys were to get the job done, getting into one.
How about Holdsworth's speed?
Yeah.
It was like a hole with the wall of all the air, and he's 3 car lengths he's gained. Unbelievable.
So the net summary there from Garth Tander, he was absolutely 100% spot on, did nothing wrong all weekend, and all the other blokes got it wrong.
I didn't go
25 points. Yeah. We are going to take a break. As we go to the break, let's relive the wild moment between Jason Bright and Davey Reynolds on the run through the carousel up to the back straight. We'll come back in just a tick.
Because he can't, that's why it's dangerous. And that's a huge amount of damage on the left-hand front of that car.
David Reynolds, the innocent victim. Now the turn 1 could well be the most fascinating race we've had, and Mark Winterbottom has absolutely nailed him off the start.
He's given Coulthard a little love tap. Whoa, 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 whoa! lifted.
Goes up alongside his teammate.
Van Gisbergen now to third.
Up into second.
And here he is, down the inside. Very good pass, Shane Van Gisbergen.
And the Gues gets it done.
V8 Extra is the program. Welcome back. We're doing a full post-show analysis of the event last weekend, races 12 and 13 of the Sky City Triple Crown. The V8 Supercar Championship, it was game on. Now, we went and had a sleep on the Saturday night. We came back on the Sunday. Things didn't calm down, boys. It got pretty wild along the way.
Oh, it certainly did. And the thing that you couldn't really script for, Crompo, was the safety cars. The way that the safety cars, like in the last race, it was almost like they were... We thought it was going to be a really good tussle to the end with Holdsworth, Whincup and Lowndes.
And we sold that both days, and we were kind of looking for that last little bit that didn't quite happen.
Exactly, and the way it worked out was that when the first safety car with Bright, for instance, was actually sort of a slow call on how long that took for that safety car to come out in the last race. And then with the Reindler incident at the top of the hill, it was immediate to come out. He actually ended up driving away. He couldn't have had a safety car.
Beautiful timing.
Very strange.
What did you think of that? I mean, in terms of the timing of the safety cars, Garth?
Oh, look, sometimes you go, they call the safety car and you go, what's the safety car for? There's nothing out here.
Yeah.
And then often, like you say, there's this very obvious safety car and you go, well, come on, boys, let's get the safety car out there.
He's got a
Well, a direct line, yeah. And maybe he didn't have much signal up at Darwin or something like that.
He rings Tim Schenken and says, let's spice this thing up a little bit. You know?
And Garth thought, how good this is, a car I can overtake today.
Yeah.
Safety car, beauty, I've got it.
Exactly.
I've got it. I've got it.
Let me
Sorry, mate.
There goes the Petter's safety car.
GT, we can't let the show go by. We have to ask the hard questions. I mean, it's not going particularly well at the moment.
Hang on, Marco. It didn't go well at Darwin. Prior to Darwin, we were third in the championship and we were going pretty well. And we had one bad weekend at Darwin and now we're seventh. So before you start your drill, get straight back on.
Yeah, but you've got a teammate as well. And just generically, it's not going as good as we would expect it to go. And I don't want to be critical, but I mean, you're off contract at the end of the year. I know you're a guy that won't suffer for too much of things going wrong. So firstly, what is happening there and what's going to be done to fix it?
Look, my management and the team had talks in the week just gone after Darwin about the future. Obviously, there's been a lot of change within the team as far as management, so finding the right people to talk to again about our contract going forward was key. And then, there's been talks about that. So my preference has always been to stay at HRT. There's lots of stuff happening in the background. It might not look like it on the weekend, but there's plenty of things happening that are going to take the team back to where it's been in the past and better. But, look, we need to just get together, make sure everyone's singing from the same hymn sheet. Hopefully we are. It can be a quick discussion and we can move forward from there. But my preference all along is to stay where I am. But, there's offers out there in the marketplace and that's flattering. But, preference is to stay where I am.
I think Tander turned serve to Larkham then, don't you? I think he actually slammed him back there.
Straight back on the front.
Bang, just back over there.
I've familiarised myself with the safety car over the years, don't worry.
Now, Mark Larkham has been giving me a very bad time for a very long time, together with Aaron Noonan, to get into the 7 archive and find some of the stuff that we've got tucked back there that basically represents a fantastic history of Australasian motorsport and to serve up some top 3s, some classic moments from our archive. So what we've done is we have found the top 3 serve-ups. So let's have a look at this classic vision.
Here they are under brakes now. Gracie's not having anything to do with it. Could be a touch here, and he's made it. He's got a whoop.
Yes, he said, you want to do that? We'll have a bit of that.
That's
Back the other way. Thanks, pal.
Absolutely almost legend Grace.
Some idea of how quickly V8's around other 2-litre cars.
Oh.
Alan Jones gives more a little tap.
Get out of the way. Get out of the way.
That was a savage one.
Oh, you drove straight in the back of the turn me around. Really? Yeah, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? The next time that I'm behind you, I'll turn you around.
Right-hander here onto the next straight.
Oops.
I've had enough of it. John,
Watch out for Jonesy.
Yeah.
And Jonesy finishes off Thomas Mazzera.
I'm sorry, John Barr lost his patience there.
Wild stuff.
How was that Thomas Mazzera? Seriously, as the car was spinning, honestly, Bowie's turned it around. I'm gyrating.
How about...
And Alan Jones, what?
Oh, forget about all that. What about you? What about this bloke blowing up you and Jonesy? That was a good one.
Nothing.
Oh, nothing.
But isn't what the thing that's changed in the game, the deliberate nature of the way the serve-ups used to happen? I mean, it's Russell Ingall territory, really, isn't it? I mean, but you just don't see it.
Well,
like
he's
that
on
anymore.
next week, so we can get stuck in there. But the good thing is the quiet, passive, shrinking violet of Mark Scaife. Hey, look at that back in the 1993. Quiet little Mark. World Formula One champion of 1980s. You straighten him up.
Did he serve me up?
No, not after that. But he did prior to that.
Exactly.
So there you go. Coming up next, we've got some wonderful questions that are from our audience, our Big Pond questions, and we are going to continue to have a look at last weekend's races 12 and 13 of the V8 Supercar Championship from Darwin. Stay with us on V8 Extra. Welcome back to V8 Extra. Garth Tander, Mark Larkham, Mark Scaife, and we were all up in Darwin last weekend. The shorts were on. Scaife had his legs out. Reptiles everywhere. Disconnected those 2 points though.
Was that the same sentence?
What I want to do, what I want to do is also
reptile, more tadpole than reptile.
make mention of the fact that Garth and Leanne are expecting, and it's very soon. Round of applause, please. How far away?
Incredibly imminent. Like the phone is on at the moment.
Of the clock. So you might just get up and walk?
Just get up and go.
Either because we offend you or your baby's coming along.
How's the belly going?
Well, she's not at racing weight right at the moment at the end, so no, it's all gone.
Glad you said that.
It's all gone really well.
Very
all
dangerous
gone really
turf
well,
there.
and hope that it continues.
Time for Big Pond questions, and our audience has been belting us up prior to the show with a whole bunch of material here. We've got one from Jeff, and he wants to know, GT, how come your car can be released onto the ground and disappear down the pit lane with the air coupling still on it? So how did it actually get released?
Well, the air spike is like a coupling, and it's like a two-phase thing. So the first movement actually releases all the air, so that's the car coming down. So the car's on the ground and I can go, but then it's actually getting it out of the funnel or the total coupling, getting it out altogether. So the spike man, when he pulled the spike, didn't actually pull it hard enough, or it got jammed. And air's out of the car, it's on the ground, and I can go. So fortunately, no one got hurt when we had our one, because that's pretty dangerous stuff.
You didn't go off too quickly by any chance?
No, actually, that was the first thing reviewed, was that you didn't leave before the green light came on, did you? But thankfully, no, I did my bit right.
Spoken like a true driver.
Yes, that's right.
Now, Stephen in our audience asks us, why did the method of making the sidewall identification on the soft tyres change at some point during the year? Our esteemed panel.
Well, I don't know if there's a lot of rocket science. I know Dunlop hate having to paint the tyres because there's a drama, and the whole marking of the tyres is a real drama. I mean, I'd suggest what they need to do is probably pay a little more money and get Dunlop to embed in the sidewall of the tyre. So I'm good at spending someone else's money.
There you are, aren't you? Very good at that.
They use pretty technical paint when they mark it, don't they? It's
yeah.
like Dulux.
No, but with tyre wall flex, what happens is that whatever paint you put on the side comes off anyway, so it's a bit of a non-event until they find a better solution.
One for you here, Scaife, because Mark's been involved in the whole Car of the Future project, as everybody knows. And is it true that the engines for Car of the Future are all going to be the same?
No. So the two engines that are currently...
Thought you were going to flat bat me completely. No.
The two engines that we've currently got, the Ford and the GM current power plants, are going to stay. We'll also have another category engine that we'll bring in, and any other manufacturer that wants to run their own engine of whatever description, we can use that also. So there'll be an engine equalisation program with new engines.
And we are going to roll out later in the year on V8 Extra a whole lot of information in relation to Car of the Future, which I'm sure you're all going to enjoy. We're pretty much done, guys. Can you believe we've got to end it? Have you enjoyed the show today, folks? We'll look forward to doing it all again. Coming up next weekend we're going to preview the Sucregent Townsville 400 races 14 and 15 of the championship. Details on screen there, July 8th through 10. Our next V8 Extra, well, we're back here once again with a live studio audience. So we'll be making heaps of noise in here and having a heap of fun. That's coming up midday, Saturday, July the 2nd, Townsville preview, and there's a bit of trivia involved. Our special guests are going to be Russell Ingle and James Courtney. Garth Tander, Mark Larkham and Mark Scape.
Oh,
thank you, gentlemen. Do you like that sincerity? Wasn't that amazing? Thanks, guys. Had heaps of fun with you today. Look forward to seeing you again very soon. Thanks for that. And, folks, we'll see you soon. Bye for now.